name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our Supernatural opinions. Today we're recapping Season 2, Episode 17, Heart, which originally aired on March 22nd, 2007. And here, help me do that are my guests of the week, Meredith and Moira. Meredith, remind everyone who you are.
Hello, I'm Meredith. My pronouns are she and her, and I wrote all my notes in half an hour.
Excellent. And Moira, remind everyone who you are.
I'm Moira. My pronouns are also she, her, and I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, we're excited that you're back. This week's episode will contain spoilers for this episode and may reference previous episodes, but will not contain spoilers for later episodes of Supernatural. This week's episode is titled Heart, and that's a reference to the primary food of werewolves, which is our monster of the week this week. And this week's episode was written by Sarah Gamble and directed by Kim Manners. Sarah Gamble, last time we saw her was Houses of the Holy, Season 2, Episode 13, so not that long ago. And Kim Manners was also last year on that same episode. They had a good thing going, and they have it again with this one.
The tearjerker episodes.
Yep.
Yep.
Make Jared cry.
Do it. We want to watch.
But yeah, that's all great. Immediately, we start this episode in San Francisco, California, and Maddie and a couple of her friends are having some after-work drinks when Nate, her boss, comes over and asks her to come back to the office, but really he's just looking for an excuse for them to leave the bar together. But she's like, I already called you a cab, go away.
She handled that very gracefully.
She did.
She didn't embarrass him. She just, was like, I know what you need better than you do. Take this cab home.
Yeah.
She sees a different guy, and she gets freaked out, and she tries to leave. And she's parked, a mile from the very busy bar that she was in. That bar was hopping, and this parking lot might as well be an entirely different town. It's so empty. And so far away.
And, it gives every woman watching it anxiety.
Literally.
She gets in her car, and we see that same guy has followed her to the parking lot, but she drives away and is totally fine. The next morning, Maddie's at work. She's making coffee. She notices some blood on, the door frame and then the office floor, and her somewhat creepy boss, Nate, has been absolutely torn apart.
Oh, no. Yeah. I feel like we gotta react to something.
Yeah.
Next, Sam's at the coroner's office examining the body. The coroner's just confused. This guy looks like he was attacked by a wolf, but she's gonna blame a pit bull. And can we stop? The wolves don't deserve the hate that they get either.
They don't. It's true.
How is a pit bull more likely to get into this building?
Yeah.
Probably because it's a city.
I guess.
You don't usually bring wolves into a city.
This is an office building. Most people don't bring pit bulls in either.
I'm just saying, I would most likely see somebody's pet in there.
I guess.
Than a wolf. Neither of them deserve it, but one is more likely to be seen there than the other.
If that's a pet, you're in trouble. You should not have that in your home.
Yeah.
Trained attack dog. This was a hit.
Nate's heart is just straight up gone, which clues Sam in as to what the problem is. Sam and Dean are then at their motel of the week when Sam informs Dean, and therefore us, that several women have gone missing over the last year, and now this dude is the first man to show up with no heart. All the women were sex workers. Sam says hookers. I still hate that. We don't have the time.
Yep.
I feel like that was a Sarah Gamble thing, because Dean said that was the last time we had a real big problem with Dean saying hooker. I feel like that was just a word that Sarah Gamble was very quick to use.
It was also the 2000s.
Yeah,
Lots
it was
of people
2007. I don't think it had been deemed inappropriate.
Yeah, still not a nice word, but everyone was using it. So.
It's just funny that Dean was so obviously using it in that episode, and then all of a sudden, Sarah Gamble also wrote this episode, and here Sam is.
It is kind of funny.
Yeah.
You can literally see it's a Sarah Gamble episode. All of the murders happen in the weeks leading up to full moons, and this is when I feel like I figured out what everyone's line of the week was, as I recognized Sam's very 2000s choice in shirt layering. People in the early 2000s, the aughts in the 2010s, really just wanted to wear as many shirts as possible at all times.
Yeah.
It's Sam and Dean, but also just everybody else.
Yeah, it was weird. You see it in so many movies.
Shirts, tank top, shirt, other shirt over it, all the shirts.
We don't need that many shirts, guys.
And they have to be layered in a way so that you can tell that there's lots.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the only people I see layering a lot of shirts are the people I go to church with, who are trying to cover their shoulders and chests.
Yeah, trying to dress super modestly, and that's totally valid.
Yeah.
Dean's super excited that they're hunting a werewolf. They haven't seen one since they were kids. Remember this later. This detail is
important.
contested a little bit. And we don't need to worry about trying to find something to kill werewolves. That's not the issue this week. Dean informs us a silver bullet to the heart will get the job done. They go to Madison, who lives in a giant house in San Francisco. Her incel neighbor Glenn is there, and I think the reason that Madison looks so familiar to me is that she was in one single episode of Veronica Mars. She looks very familiar. She sounds very familiar. That was the only thing on her IMDb I even remotely recognized. Madison was an assistant. And again, how is she living in this house?
Yeah.
And she says that Nate was a big flirt, but he was, like, kind of harmless. Madison says she doesn't know about Nate having any enemies, but her ex, Kurt Mueller, I wrote Mueller in all caps for some reason.
Mueller.
I think it's just because when I work, I write last names in all capitals. I think it just... It just happened naturally.
Automatic.
Such a German name.
And, like, of course, that guy's named Kurt.
Also, it's worth noting that he's got, like, long hair and a beard, and he looks like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been stalking her and was incredibly jealous of Nate.
Brave.
I could have sworn there's an apartment building in this episode, but, like, this is, like, an actual house. It's nice, like on Charmed, which is my only real reference for San Francisco.
I thought it was an apartment building until you said it was a house, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a house. I think it's because we see Nate's apartment later that I, like, confused the two. Also, the house might be split into two apartments. That also could be happening.
Yeah, that's what I was about to suggest.
Yeah.
It could be a duplex, because we really only see, like, one floor of the house.
Madison looks out her window and sees Kurt, but when she looks again, he's gone.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's very safe and secure.
Yeah, so weird.
Sam and Dean go to Kurt's, and Dean's standing on the balcony like no one's going to walk by when he notices giant suspicious claw marks down the side of the building. They go
Those
back.
are normal, though, right?
Yeah, totally. They go back inside, but they run outside when they hear a police officer being mauled and attacked. Sam calls 911, but that dude is dead. They go back to Madison's. Now this is an apartment. They're like in like a hallway, and there's like another door.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this house might be broken up into like apartments like down the middle of the house. They agree one of them will go track down Kurt and the other will stay with Madison. Sam wants to stay with the hot girl for once, and they settle it via rock, paper, scissors. This is the second time I think we've seen them play rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, goodness.
Sam says Dean always picks scissors. I've seen so many theories that Dean lets Sam win anytime winning would seem like more dangerous. And like if it's something less dangerous, then like Sam loses.
Yeah.
Madison and Sam are both kind of trying not to be interested in one another, or at least Sam is trying.
And failing.
Madison is whipping out her clean underwear to give Sam an idea of what she might be wearing.
Oh gosh, yeah. She's putting away her laundry, not at all hinting at things.
Dean calls to torture Sam a little and report that he doesn't have any leads. And Madison gives Sam a little grief for thinking that her soap opera is a little silly because, you know, Mr. Stanford is too good for a little soap opera.
It is silly, but it's allowed to be silly.
Yeah, it's allowed to be silly. Next scene, Sam is absolutely hooked. He's into this. He's trying to piece together the storyline. He's really into whatever soap opera this is supposed to be.
See, that's the appeal of silly TV shows.
Exactly. I mean, Sam could never actually watch a soap opera because those things air every single day during the week, usually. And Sam Winchester lives on the road.
Yeah, he would have to get Netflix.
He would always be missing episodes. I don't know if soap operas like that are on streaming services. Like, I think they're like a very specific niche, like, TV thing.
See,
get him to watch Riverdale.
Yeah. My thought was that would be like all that they would have watched because it would be one of like the 3 channels that Motel TVs have.
I mean,
I was like, I'm shocked.
Dean probably always picked what they watched. And
true.
So it's Dr. Sexy and Scooby-Doo all day.
And Star Trek.
I mean, yeah, that too.
You can bet they had Star Trek reruns on.
Absolutely, everywhere.
Absolutely.
Sam asks Madison how she ended up with Kurt, who's a controlling dick, and she says she was too insecure to leave, but then she got mugged and she realized she needed to take control of her life. And Sam notes specifically that Madison has great books in her house. Like, that's how he goes into that compliment. Which, I mean, that's how I would also go into a compliment, because I'm also awkward like this.
I would definitely comment on someone's library.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Sam says Madison is unusual, which is Sam for impressive. This episode and this relationship is absolutely fascinating to me as someone who thinks that Sam's demisexual. Like, he's very clearly feeling something, and I think this is very different to how we've seen him with Sarah in season 1, which is our only other real reference for how Sam interacts with women that he has some level of feelings towards.
Mm-hmm.
This feels very different to me.
I think his feelings are a bit, I don't know, stronger.
Yeah.
Like he's not restraining them as much.
This feels very like almost like Sam, I think, is feeling a little overwhelmed with the amount of feelings he's suddenly having.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Dean has located Kurt at a strip club. He's having a very good night. I actually like that we don't see the girl in the shot. We only see a pair of ankles and shoes.
Sorry, from what I remember, Kurt's just like staring with a stone face.
Yeah,
like,
Kurt's
I am having a
at
wonderful
this strip
night.
club to not enjoy himself. Meanwhile, Dean's having the time of his life.
He must have been so much fun to date. Like, that's just his face all the time.
Yeah.
It's probably good that, like, I can just imagine, like, Sam ending up in this strip club and just, like, not having a good time. Like, it's really fate that Dean was the one who went.
Yeah.
Sam would not have appreciated that at all.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Sam is still at Madison's. She's going to bed. He's watching TV like he's a babysitter who, after the kids have gone to bed, but the parents haven't come home.
He kind of is a babysitter.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's really here for that. There's a hard transition with some rock music. It was just like Sam watching TV and then like rock music down the street by the Stooges, and Dean is leaning against a building in the moonlight. He looks so good.
In the moonlight.
Yeah, he's just like kind of lit up by the moon. He's leaning against a wall, like a brick
Album
wall.
cover
Yeah.
worthy. Like,
He's there because he followed Kurt home, and he hears it crashing, and when he gets upstairs, Madison is all wolfed out, and she has killed Kurt, and she damages Dean trying to escape.
that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Dean then calls in the morning when he regains consciousness. He's a little bit annoyed that Sam didn't keep a close enough watch on Madison, who is still in bed asleep. Luckily, Dean got one swing in with his silver knife before he got knocked out, so they can confirm that he saw what he thought he saw before he got knocked in the head. Madison is unbothered that Sam is standing in her bedroom as she wakes up, but she becomes bothered when she realizes that she's naked, bleeding, and can't remember what happened, because yeah, the obvious assumption is that Sam's committed a felony.
Yes, that would be very bothersome.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't improve anything by not answering her when she tries to talk to him and then locking them in the house together and pulling a gun on her.
Okay. That's a red flag.
He's then like yelling in her face about her being a werewolf, and Dean shows up, and then we see that Madison is tied to a chair in her own house. This poor woman.
Yeah.
And the fact that they still sleep together after this.
Yeah, wild. Sam
Wow.
Sam is realizing that maybe Madison really doesn't know what she's doing, and he's not just gonna kill some girl without at least giving her a chance to stop. He adds that maybe he understands her because he's got some superpowers that he can't exactly control. And I think, Sam, your main character syndrome is acting up. It's not all about you, bud.
But it is.
John had a crazy werewolf theory that if you killed the werewolf who bit you, the bloodline might be severed, and that makes absolutely zero sense. Like, actually stop and think about that, because hunters kill werewolves, maybe not all the time, since Dean and Sam haven't seen any since they were kids, but like often enough that if that worked, werewolves would be so much less of a problem.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, it also doesn't work, but like, just like before they even try it, I'm like, why did you think that would work?
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like something you would find in like a very old fairy tale, but not very many of them.
Yeah, and John just like wrote that in his journal and like didn't test it, didn't do anything about it, didn't think any harder about it.
Just spitballing here, but what if? And then he never tested it.
Yeah. Sam puts together that Madison's life-changing mugging is probably when she got bit. It was about a month ago, and right around Hunter's Point, where all the other murders happened of the sex workers. Sam says they might as well try, and I think Sam's right, because like, if that is how she got turned, that means that there is another werewolf running around killing people. Like, that's not gonna go away unless they deal with it, no matter what happens to Madison. Like, whether they can cure her or not, there's still a werewolf that turned her running around killing people. Sam is gonna stay with Maddie and keep her locked down and promises that if she gets out, he'll shoot her. Dean clearly doesn't believe that, but he agrees that that's an okay plan. Sam is in the whisper as he tells Maddie that he's trying to help her, and if things go right, he'll leave and never come back, and she'll go on to live her life. We're then with a cute girl in a very aughts faux fur dress, and the moon is like very full. pan to Sam, realizing too late that the very little string that he used to tie at Madison is insufficient to contain a werewolf. Like, that worked on a human girl, but just, you didn't have any silver chains? Like,
probably not in his pocket.
Also, couldn't they have tested her with silver?
Well, maybe you should write the show. Like,